Kemi brought out the knife from the kitchen. She took a deep breath and said to herself, "Now I will end my life. I've suffered more than anyone in this world. May everyone know peace now that I will be gone." Long time ago, in the village of Sondak, there lived a very beautiful and enchanting girl named Kemi. Kemi was so beautiful that any man who saw her would want to marry and have her as a wife. There was, however, a very big and disastrous problem. No man in the village wanted to come near Kemi. The reason was because Kemi had a powerful curse that scared men away from her. The curse was so powerful that the villagers of Sondak village avoided Kemi like a plague. The moment that any man has any physical contact, something as little as holding Kemi's hands, the man would develop a terrible illness and die that day. Kemi was not born with such a curse. When she was little, she was loved by all the villagers and many children could touch and even play games with her. However, as Kemi turned 18, the age that men could see her as a potential wife to get married to, the deadly curse took hold. The woman responsible for casting the evil spell on Kemi was Bisola, the best friend of Kemi's mother. Bisola and Kemi's mother were very good friends growing up. The village envied their friendship, but Kemi's mother always got more attention from men than Bisola. Although Bisola was said to be more beautiful, she had a curvy figure that many men liked and admired. Efua, on the other hand, was not as beautiful as Bisola, but she had a kind heart and was more respectful and soft to people. This made Bisola to be jealous of her friend. The hatred became more when Teo started to like Kemi's mother. Teo was a man who was said to be blessed with handsomeness from the gods. Teo was so handsome and hardworking that every woman in the village wanted him. The girls in the village were very eager to see who Teo would make advances at and eventually get married to. Bisola was so angry when she discovered that Teo had started to like her friend, Efua. She was angry because she was the first to know about Teo. Bisola wanted Teo to be hers. Bisola felt that if she could win over Teo, then it meant she was more beautiful and adoring than her friend. As fate would have it, Teo got married to Efua, Kemi's mother. They had a colorful and beautiful wedding that was the talk of the village for a long time. Efua's life was going wonderful. However, the same did not happen for Bisola. Because of her prideful and arrogant nature, Bisola had insulted all the men who had come for her because she had wanted to marry Teo. She now had a bad reputation in the village, and so nobody wanted her as a wife. Bisola became alone and bitter. She left the village and then dedicated her life to learning the dark magic to get her revenge on her friend. When she returned after some years, she found out that Teo and Efua was no more, but they had born a beautiful baby. Bisola waited for the baby to grow and then bewitched her so that no man who came in contact with her would live to tell the tale. Kemi at 18 was now a beautiful lady, although beautiful was avoided by all the men in the village. Despite the fact that the spell on her did not affect the girls or women that touched her or come in contact with her, many of the women in the village warned their daughters not to get close to Kemi. Kemi had only one friend in the village, a young handsome man named Kola. Kola had been best friends with Kemi since they had been children. Despite Kemi's condition, he still remained friends with her. He was the only one who remained and decided to support Kemi in spite of her problem. Kola was a skilled hunter. He would bring meat for Kemi to eat during the evening because he knew she couldn't buy in the market since the sellers were afraid of her. He would also help Kemi to run little errands. Kola and Kemi discussed everything together. Despite Kola's efforts to help Kemi, Kemi sometimes felt that her fate was too much to bear. One day she decided to end her life. Kemi brought out the knife in the kitchen. She took a deep breath and said to herself, "Now I will end my life. I've suffered more than anyone in this world. May everyone know peace now that I will be gone." Luckily, that evening, Kola was just coming to her hut to bring her some food items that he got from the market. As Kola saw what she wanted to do with the knife, he shouted her name. Kemi was shocked to see him and the knife fell to the ground. Kola then ran to Kemi. He told Kemi that there was hope and that she should not waste her life. "The gods have a beautiful plan for you, Kemi," Kola said that very day. Due to the kindness Kola had showed Kemi, Kemi then promised Kola that she would not attempt to end her life again. One early morning in the village, Kola came to visit Kemi. He told her that he had saved some money for her and that he wanted her to use it to find an oracle that would help her to cure her predicament. Kemi thanked Kola and burst into tears. "It's okay. Do not cry. The gods will favor you," Kola said. A year later, Kola decided to marry a beautiful woman whom he loved. Kemi told Kola that she had prayed to the gods. "I prayed to the gods for you, Kola. I've told them to give you a good woman that will take care of you and give you peace, just like you have done for me." Kola's wife was a good and understanding woman who understood Kemi. Over time, the both of them became friends. Since Kemi could not harm Kola's wife in any physical way, nothing bothered her. The couple became the only source of joy in Kemi's life. However, life was about to take a bad turn. The villagers who started to notice that Kola and his wife were friends with Kemi started to avoid them. They would pass Kemi's wife's store in the market and at the end of the day, no one would buy from her. Kola and his wife, despite the ill treatment they were receiving from the villagers, still remained good to Kemi. However, when Kemi realized what was going on, she cried. She cried for many nights. She asked herself if this was going to be her fate all the days of her life. A few days later, Kola's wife told Kemi that she had heard some women talking about a powerful oracle in a village across 3 rivers and that the villagers who went there had their problems solved. Kemi was reluctant at first and said that she had gone to an oracle before but the oracle couldn't help her. Tolani, Kola's wife, then told her that this time could be different. Kemi told Tolani that many of the villages knew about her problem and that it would be dangerous for her to travel alone. Tolani, Kola's wife, then told her that there was no need to worry, that she had already planned on following her to meet the oracle. The next day, Kemi and Tolani journeyed to meet the oracle, who was said to dwell across 3 rivers. The journey was not an easy one. The 2 friends, however, made it across the 3 rivers after traveling for some days. Finally, they arrived at the place the oracle dwelled. It was a hut that was close to a stream. When the oracle saw them, He called out their names. Kemi and Tolani. I know why you have come to see me, the oracle said. Kemi was surprised but felt a bit of assurance that maybe this oracle would be able to help her solve her problem for good. The oracle then told Tolani that he needed to speak to Kemi alone and that Tolani should wait outside. Tolani touched Kemi's shoulder and reassured her that all will be fine. She then stepped outside. Kemi was now alone with the oracle inside the hut. She couldn't understand the reason the oracle told her friend, Tolani, to wait outside. With eagerness, she waited to hear what the oracle was going to tell her. What do you think will be the fate of Kemi? Will her problem be solved by the oracle? Or will this be another dead end for her? Find out in the next episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more interesting stories. Tolani waited outside for her friend, Kemi. In her heart she prayed that the oracle should be able to help her. She knew and understood that Kemi had suffered for so long. She wanted her friend to have a husband and a child like any other woman that had been born. Inside the hut, Kemi was now inside alone with the oracle. I know why you have come, my child, the oracle said. Please, will you be able to help me? Kemi asked the oracle. You have to listen very carefully, the oracle said. The spell that bounds you is in one that is very powerful. It is rooted in malice, jealousy, and deep hatred. This spell is not one that I have the power to break. The oracle took a deep breath and continued. You will have to abandon your friends and your village if you are to find happiness in life. The oracle told Kemi that she would have to leave the person she loved the most, who happened to be Kola and his dear wife. He then said she should go and live in a forest that is not so far from her village. He told her that in the forest, she would find the power she needed to save herself. Kemi was confused and frustrated at the oracle's words. The oracle's words seemed to be imparable and Kemi was not happy. She had so many questions. Where exactly in the forest should she live? What does the power she needed to break her curse look like? How would she know when she sees it? The oracle was unable to answer any of Kemi's questions. He told her that he had told her everything he had to say. Angry and frustrated, Kemi came outside of the oracle's hut. Outside the hut, Tolani awaited Kemi. The two women then journeyed back to the village, crossing the same rivers they crossed while coming. On their way back, Tolani asked Kemi if the oracle solved the problem. Kemi replied and told Kemi that the oracle was unable to. Tolani apologized to Kemi for making her come to such a futile journey. No need to apologize. I'm grateful for you and your husband's kindness. I owe both of you everything, Kemi said as she embraced Tolani. When Kemi and Tolani arrived the village, it was late in the evening. Kola had prepared a meal for them to eat. After hearing what had happened, Kola felt disappointed and unhappy. He, however, reassured Kemi that all will be well. Days later, Tolani's shop in the market still did not improve. People were no longer buying from her as before because of her association with Kemi. When Kemi realized this, she then decided it was probably best for her to stay alone. Kola and Tolani had done so much for her and did not need to suffer because of her predicament. Kemi then picked a few belongings she had and headed into the forest that the oracle told her to go to. She knew Kola and Tolani would miss her, but she knew it was for the best. Also, if they knew that she was planning to live by herself in the forest, they probably wouldn't allow her to. Time passed and it had now been months since Kemi started to live her solitary life in the forest. She had now become accustomed to it. During the day, she would pick fruits in the forest and also leaves that she would use to prepare food herself. She had also understood the various herbs in the forest and what they could do. One morning, while Kemi went out to pick some herbs, she suddenly heard the hissing sound of a snake. She traced the sound of the snake hissing and was shocked to see an old man sitting on a fallen tree. The snake was crawling underneath the old man's leg. Kemi was surprised that the old man did not move or try to kill the snake. She then realized that the old man was blind. In that moment, she threw a solid rock to drive away the snake. The snake quickly slithered away, but it had already succeeded in biting the old man. Kemi rushed towards the old man. Amongst the leaves she gathered in her calabash was a potent leaf that she could use to apply to the old man's wound. However, as Kemi remembered that she had a deadly accursed spell on her, she started to cry. When the old man asked Kemi why she was crying, Kemi replied that she is cursed. She then said that she can't heal the old man because touching him will lead him to death. The old man took a deep breath and said something that shocked Kemi. "It's okay, my child. I will not die if you touch me. I also will not die by that snake that just bit me." The old man then told Kemi that he is a very powerful medicine man. Kemi did not believe the old man's words at first. She felt his words were too good to be true. The old man then pointed at the direction that the snake that bit him slithered away to. Kemi followed the direction of the man's hands and behold to check what the old man was trying to tell her. Behold, Kemi saw that the snake that bit the old man was laying lifeless on the ground. Kemi was shocked. The snake had died from biting the old man instead of the old man to be the one to die from the snake poison. Immediately, Kemi rushed to meet the old man and laid at his feet. She apologized for doubting the old man and begged him, "Please, Baba, help me. I have a spell on me that no one has been able to break." The old man then told Kemi to stand up. He held her hand. He wanted to prove to Kemi that touching him will not kill him. Kemi sat down with the old man. The old man then told Kemi that the spell on her was tied to a man's eyes and her beauty. He said that any man who sees her and touches her will fall sick and die that day. He then told Kemi that since he is blind and cannot see her, the spell will not work on him. He then told Kemi that if he was not blind, he would need to prepare a powerful concoction that would take days. Only then will he be able to touch her, but the effect will wear off after a day. Kemi was shocked and marveled at the deep wisdom and insight of the old man. The old man told Kemi his name. The old man's name was Kunle. He then told her that he is waiting for his grandson, who had gone to pick some herbs deep inside the forest. It didn't take very long. Kunle's grandson, Tunde, arrived. As soon as Kemi saw Tunde, there was a sudden connection that she felt with Tunde that she couldn't explain. Tunde was a young, bright and insightful young man who had been under the mentorship of his grandfather. As soon as Tunde saw Kemi, he felt a connection to her and immediately liked her. However, he could sense, just like his grandfather, that Kemi had an evil spell on her. So he decided not to get too close to her, physically. Kemi immediately could tell that Tunde knew that she was cursed. It was not surprising. She expected Kunle's grandson to just be as insightful and spiritual as his grandfather. Kemi followed Kunle and his grandson to their hut in the forest. The hut was large and could accompany guests, so Kemi was happy. The next day, Kunle sent his grandson to go get some herbs in the forest. Kemi stayed at home and began to ask questions, to which the old man replied her. The old man told her that breaking her spell would take time and she should be patient. When Tunde arrived, Kunle began to prepare a powerful concoction inside the hut. This happened for many days. Kunle also noticed that Kemi would go outside when his grandson was around and would totally avoid him. He knew that Kemi was attracted to Ton but was afraid of going close to him. Kunle then gave his grandson a medicinal herb and told him that he had been making it for days. He also told him that after taking the herb, if Kemi touched him he won't die, but the medicine will only last for a day. Tunde thanked his grandfather and went outside to meet Kemi. Outside, he spoke to Kemi. Kemi decided to open up to him and then told her about her struggles. She told Kunle about Kola and Tolani, how they were the only people in the world that loved her and took care of her despite her predicament. Kunle then asked Kemi if staying alone was a problem for her. Kemi told Kunle that she had learned how to be alone ever since she discovered that she was cursed. So, she was no longer bothered by it. Kunle then told Kemi that everything will soon be well and that he and his grandfather would make sure to help her break the evil spell placed on her. Kemi smiled and thanked Kunle. A drop of tear fell from her left eye. Finally, she had found someone that wanted to help and take care of her. As the days went by and Kemi spoke to Tunde more, she began to fall more in love with him, but she still maintained her distance. It had been 7 days that Kemi had been with Kunle, the blind old man. Kunle called Kemi and told her that the concoction he was preparing was ready. He told her that to break her curse, she needed to go far and deep into the forest. There she would see a pot that is as black as night. Inside the pot is a flower. She would need to remove the flower and break the pot in order to break her curse. Kunle told Kemi that the person who enchanted her was the one who placed the pot and the flower in the forest. He further told her that the part of the forest she would see the pot is forbidden and filled with dangerous creatures. The concoction he had been making for the last 7 days, however, would make her invisible to the creatures. Kemi would be able to see the creatures, but they will not be able to see her. The old man then tied a small cloth in Kemi's leg and told her that the cloth would guide her to find the black pot. Kemi thanked the old man and then left for the forbidden part of the forest. On her way, Kemi saw some scary creatures that frightened her, but she made sure to keep going. Since they could not see her, she was confident and continued on her journey. Finally, Kemi got to the part of the forest Kunle mentioned and then she saw the pot. There was, however, a big problem. There were 2 black pots in the forest. Kemi was sure that she only needed one pot to break the spell. After debating in her mind for what felt like hours, Kemi finally had the courage to choose one of the pots. As she tried to open the first pot to see if it was the right pot and then remove the flower, a sudden shocking feeling overwhelmed her. She then fell to the ground and turned into stone. Meanwhile, Tunde, who was with his grandfather in his hut, told him that he wanted to go after Kemi. He sensed that she was in trouble. Kunle told his grandson that the medicine he made to make Kemi invisible to the deadly creatures in the forest was only for her. He told him that there wasn't any more left for him. Tunde then told his grandfather that he would fortify himself with other medicines so that the creatures would not be able to kill him. There was just one more problem. Kunle told his grandson that if Kemi did find herself in trouble, that Tunde may need to come in physical contact with her inner dad to save her. This would mean he would be killed by Kemi's curse. Tunde then brought out the medicine that his father had given him inside the gourd. He then explained to his grandfather that he never drank the medicine that day that he was given and that he was saving it in case something dangerous like this happened. Kunle was proud of the man his grandson had become. He had become much wiser and insightful. He then helped him to fortify himself with charms and medicines for his journey. He also took a bead that belonged to Kemi and did some incantation, so that as long as the bead was in Tunde's leg, he would be able to find Kemi. Tunde, after his preparation, journeyed into the forest. On his way, he encountered and wrestled with some creatures that attacked him. Tunde was able to fight off the creatures, although he sustained some injuries. He knew it would have been much more worse if he hadn't fortified himself with the medicines from his grandfather. Tunde finally got to where Kemi was. He saw that she had been turned into stone. He then drank the medicine his grandfather gave him that would enable him to touch Kemi without the evil spell on her affecting him. Tunde was able to revive Kemi with some powerful charms and herbs he had gotten from his grandfather. As Kemi became normal again, she was shocked to see Tunde standing in front of her. Tunde then explained that he sensed she was in trouble and came to help her. Kemi saw wounds and marks in Tunde's body. Tunde smiled and told her that he was fine. He explained that he had to fight some creatures to get to her and that he took a concoction that allows him to touch her. Kemi embraced Tunde and thanked him for saving her. It was the first time she had touched someone for a long time. Kemi then went to the second pot and took out the flower. She then broke the black pot and ended the evil spell on her. It's over. I can be free now, Kemi said, embracing Tunde again. Tunde then told Kemi that she had to run back to the hut. He explained that the power making her invisible to the creatures of the forest would soon fade away. He also said that he can't come with her because the creatures would see him and it would put her in danger. Go. I'll be just behind you, Tunde told Kemi. Please, come back safely, Kemi said to Tunde. Kemi then began to run back to the hut. She ran as fast as she could. Tunde followed Kemi from behind. He encountered some creatures on his way back but was able to fight them off. When Kemi arrived at the hut, she waited for Tunde. Tunde soon arrived at the hut also. This made Kemi very glad. She was happy that Tunde made it back to her and his grandfather. Kemi went to meet the old man, Kunle, and laid at his feet. Words were not enough to thank him for his help. Kunle told Kemi to get up and said that he was happy that her curse was broken. Later that night, Kemi tended to Tunde's wound and he soon began to recover. Tunde then confessed his love for Kemi and told her that he wanted her to marry him. Kemi said nothing but smiled. The next day, in the village of Sandak, something unexpected happened. Due to the fact that Kemi had broken Bisola's evil spell, Bisola faced severe consequences. Her body began to itch as she was in the market. The spell had backfired. She then confessed inside the about Kemi and told the villagers that she was responsible for her predicament. The villagers were shocked that Bisola, the friend of Kemi's late mother, could do such evil to her friend's child. Bisola shortly fell to the ground and died after confessing. Meanwhile, inside the forest, Kemi and Tunde had received Kunle's blessing to be husband and wife. Kemi's dream of being like every other woman had now come true. Kemi and Tunde then decided to go into the village with Kunle where they planned to do a proper wedding and live their life. I can't wait to meet your friends, Kola and Tolani. Ton told Kemi, his soon-to-be wife. Kemi laughed and replied, "Of course. They are going to love you." So Kemi and Tunde went into the village to begin a new life. Kemi was now a happy woman. At long last her curse was broken and she could now live a blissful life with Kola, Tolani and the love of her life, Tunde. This brings us to the end of Kemi's story. Please like and subscribe for more interesting stories.